The voice you hear when you speak is not your real voice. You have never, in your entire life, actually heard yourself. Not once. The voice in your head, the one you think of as yours, is a private illusion that nobody else on earth has ever experienced. And the voice on the recording, the one that makes you wince and go, "Is that really what I sound like?" That one is the truth. That's the real you. The one everybody else has been hearing this whole time. You know the feeling exactly. You hear your voice played back, on a voicemail, a video, a voice note someone sent around, and something in you recoils. It sounds higher than you expected, thinner, nasal maybe, strange, not like you at all. You think, surely I don't sound like that. And the horrible answer is, yes, you do. That's precisely what you sound like to every single person you have ever spoken to. And there's a special kind of horror in realizing that. Because it means everyone has been hearing this voice, the one you just discovered and immediately disliked, for your entire life, while you walked around blissfully believing you sounded like the richer version in your head. Every conversation, every phone call, every time you've spoken to anyone, they were getting the recorded version, and you had no idea. It's a little like finding out there's been a small piece of food in your teeth, except it's not food, it's your actual voice, and it's been there since you learned to talk. The first instinct is mortification, but by the end of this, that mortification is going to flip completely into relief. Maybe even a kind of quiet pride. This is the psychology of the recorded voice cringe, the near-universal, full-body discomfort of hearing yourself played back. And it's hiding two completely separate secrets. One is about physics, about the literal sound, and it's genuinely fascinating. The other is about identity, about the self, and it goes much deeper than a funny quirk of acoustics. By the end of this, you're going to understand both. Why your recorded voice sounds wrong, and why hearing it feels so weirdly distressing. And here's the part that should change how you feel about it forever. Why the voice you can't stand is the exact voice the people who love you recognize and adore, and have never once found cringeworthy. So let's start with the physics, because the explanation is wonderfully strange. When another person speaks to you, the sound of their voice reaches you in one way. It travels through the air, into your ears, and your brain turns it into sound. Simple. One path, air to ear. That's how you hear everyone else, and it's how everyone else hears you. But when you speak, you hear your own voice through two paths at the same time. The first is that same air path. Your voice comes out of your mouth, travels through the air, and reaches your own ears, just like it reaches everyone else's. But there's a second path that only you have access to. As you speak, your vocal cords vibrate, and those vibrations travel directly through the bones of your skull to your inner ear. This is called bone conduction, and here's the crucial thing it does. Bone passes along the lower frequencies far better than air does. So the vibrations traveling through your skull add a layer of deep, rich, warm bass to your voice that the air path alone simply doesn't carry. So the voice you hear when you speak is a blend. It's the air-conducted version that everyone hears, plus a private bass boost piped directly through your bones that only you receive. The result is a voice that sounds, to you, deeper, fuller, richer, and, frankly, better than the one that actually leaves your mouth. Your skull has been running a personal subwoofer your whole life, audible to an audience of exactly one. You can actually feel this happening if you try. Plug your ears with your fingers and hum or talk. Suddenly your voice sounds much louder and deeper inside your head, because you've blocked the air path and left only the bone path, the deep skull resonant one. That booming, rich sound is a pure dose of the private layer you've been getting mixed in all along. It's why humming with your ears covered feels so satisfying and resonant. You're hearing your own personal subwoofer with the air channel switched off. That sound has never left your head, and it never will. This same trick is why people with certain kinds of hearing loss can sometimes still hear their own voice clearly even when the world goes quiet. The bone path bypasses the part of the ear that handles airborne sound entirely. Your voice reaches you through a back door that no one else's voice can use. It's a genuinely private channel built into your own skeleton, and it has been quietly fooling you about how you sound for your entire life. And then you hear a recording. A recording is just a microphone, and a microphone sits out in the air. It captures only the air-conducted version, the higher, thinner, true version, the one without the bone-boosted bass. So when you play it back, you're hearing your voice with the private bass suddenly stripped away. And it sounds wrong, higher, weaker, stranger. Not because the recording is distorting you, but because, for the first time, you're hearing yourself without the deep, secret layer your own skull always added. The recording isn't lying, your head was. The recording is the honest version, and you've just spent your whole life never hearing it, because the only ears that could hear the true version belong to other people. That alone explains why the sound is different, but it does not explain the cringe. Because plenty of things sound different from what we expect without making us recoil in horror. The difference in pitch is surprising, but the full-body discomfort, the wince, the desperate denial, that comes from something much deeper. And this is where it stops being about acoustics and starts being about you. Here's the deeper truth. The cringe is not really about how the voice sounds. It's about the collision between the you in your head and the you in the world. Your voice is not just a sound. It's a core piece of your identity. You've been listening to your internal voice, the deep, rich, skull-boosted one, every single day of your life. It's woven into your sense of who you are. It's the voice that narrates your thoughts, that you've heard in every conversation, that feels, fundamentally, like the sound of yourself. And then the recording plays, and it presents you with a different voice. A stranger's voice, almost. And your brain has to confront something deeply unsettling. That the self you've been carrying around in your head does not match the self the world has been receiving. That mismatch is the real source of the cringe. It's a tiny identity crisis. For 1 second, you're forced to see yourself from the outside, the way others see you. And the outside version doesn't line up with the inside version you've spent your whole life believing in. It's not the pitch that horrifies you, it's the gap. The gap between who you think you are and who you apparently are to everyone else. And there's a second layer of discomfort stacked on top of that, which is the loss of control. When you speak in the moment, you're inside the experience, steering it, focused on what you're saying, not on how you sound. But a recording strips all that away and hands you the raw output with no ability to edit. And it reveals things you never meant to broadcast. The little verbal tics you didn't know you had. The way your accent actually sounds. The nervousness you thought you were hiding, audible in the wobble of your voice. The and the and the way your sentences trail off. In the moment, you experience yourself as the smooth, in-control narrator of your own life. The recording shows you the unedited reality. And the reality is messier, more revealing, and less polished than the version you perform for yourself in real time. You're not just hearing a different pitch, you're hearing all the things you didn't realize were leaking out of you, laid bare, with the volume turned up and the editing turned off. That's part of why a recording can feel almost like being caught at something. It exposes the gap between the composed self you think you're projecting and the more vulnerable, human, uncontrolled self that actually comes across. And nobody likes being shown, without warning, how much of themselves they can't control. And there's research that points right at this. When people are played a recording of their own voice mixed in with others, and they don't know which one is theirs, they often rate the sound of their own voice perfectly fine, sometimes even more attractive than average. But the moment they know it's them, the discomfort floods in. Which tells you something important. The sound itself isn't the problem. The problem is that it's you. And it's a you that doesn't match your self-image. The cringe lives in the identity, not in the audio. This connects to one of the most reliable findings in all of psychology, that we tend to like what's familiar. The more we're exposed to something, the more we warm to it, simply through repetition. It's called the mere exposure effect, and it explains a huge amount of human preference. Now, apply it to your voice. You have heard your internal, skull-boosted voice countless times. It is maximally familiar, so you're maximally comfortable with it. And you have heard your true, external voice almost never, so it remains unfamiliar. And unfamiliar registers automatically as slightly off, slightly wrong, slightly to be distrusted. Your brain isn't reacting to a bad sound. It's reacting to a stranger. And it treats the stranger with the same low-grade suspicion it gives anything it doesn't recognize. This is also, by the way, exactly why the discomfort fades with exposure, which we'll come back to. But the key insight is that your real voice doesn't sound bad. It just sounds unfamiliar to the one person who's spent a lifetime hearing a different version. You. To literally everyone else, your real voice is the familiar one, the comfortable one, the one they like through sheer repeated exposure. You're the only person in the world for whom your true voice is the stranger. Let me show you how this plays out, because the discomfort takes different shapes depending on where you meet it. Take the voicemail or the voice note. You record a quick message, play it back to check it, and recoil. So you delete it and record it again and again. You're not editing the words, you're trying to get the voice to match the one in your head. And it never will, because the one in your head is acoustically impossible to reproduce. People can spend a startling amount of time re-recording a 15-second voice note, chasing a version of their own voice that does not exist outside their skull. It's a small, common, oddly poignant kind of madness, fighting over and over to reproduce a sound that was only ever a private illusion in the first place. Take the video. This one's even worse, because now it's not just your voice, it's your face, your gestures, your mannerisms, all played back at once. And every one of them produces the same mismatch. You don't move like that in your head. You don't make that face. The video is a double dose of seeing yourself from the outside, and it can be genuinely hard to watch because it's confronting you with the entire external you all at once, with the internal you's permission to edit completely removed. This is why so many people physically cannot stand to watch videos of themselves, and why being on camera makes people so self-conscious. It's not vanity. It's that the camera collapses the entire gap between internal and external in one merciless shot. Voice, face, posture, expression, all of it. Exactly as the world receives you, with none of the real-time control you normally have. In conversation, you never see your own face, so you can imagine it however you like. On video, there it is, doing things you didn't authorize. And the disorientation can be intense. And yet, here's the same quiet truth again. Everyone you've ever met has only ever seen that external version. The face on the video is the only face of yours that has ever existed for anyone but you. They've been looking at it, fondly, the whole time. Take singing, which adds a cruel twist. When you sing, the bone-conducted bass makes your voice sound especially full and resonant in your own head. So you might sound, to yourself, far better than you do to a microphone. Which is why so many people are genuinely shocked by recordings of their own singing. The gap between the rich, warm voice you heard inside and the thinner one the recorder caught can be brutal. Your skull is a flattering acoustic environment. The real world is not, and the recording is where the two finally meet. And here's the thing, the recorded voice is just one member of a whole family of these little shocks, all of them the same mechanism wearing different clothes. Think about the candid photo of yourself that someone catches when you're not posing, the one that makes you go, "Do I really look like that?" Same gap. You carry a curated image of your own face, assembled from mirrors, where you've unconsciously chosen your best angle and expression. And the candid photo, taken from the outside, doesn't match it. Or your own handwriting, which can look stranger than you expect when you really study it. Or watching yourself in a video walk across a room and realizing your walk, your posture, your whole physical presence is not quite what you pictured. Every one of these is a small collision between the internal self-image you've been maintaining and the external reality that other people have always seen. The recorded voice just happens to be the most common and most jarring of them because you encounter it so often and the gap is so audible. Which means your discomfort with your voice isn't really about your voice at all. It's one instance of a much bigger, stranger fact, that there's a permanent gap between how you experience yourself and how you actually appear. And the world has been quietly receiving the external version this entire time. Every one of these is the same collision. The internal you, deep and rich and in control, meeting the external you, higher and stranger and outside your editing, and your brain flinching at the gap between them. Which brings us to the twist, and it should genuinely set you free. The voice you've been cringing at is not the wrong voice. It is your real voice. The deep, rich, beautiful voice in your head, the one you think is the real you, is the illusion. It's a private acoustic trick, a bass boost your skull pipes in for an audience of one, that has never reached another human ear and never will. Every single person you have ever spoken to, your family, your friends, your partner, every stranger, has only ever heard the recorded version, the higher, thinner, true version, the one you can't stand. That is the only voice of yours that has ever existed in the world. And here's the part that should land softly and change everything. They don't find it cringeworthy, not even a little. To everyone who knows you, that voice, the one you wince at, is simply the sound of you. It's the voice that means a loved one is home. The voice a friend lights up to hear on the phone. The voice your partner finds comforting, familiar, dear. They have never once heard your skull-boosted internal voice, and they have never missed it, because to them, your real voice was always perfect. It was always just you. The voice you can't bear is the voice the people who love you love. So the cringe is, in the most literal sense, a one-person problem. You are the only human being on earth who finds your real voice strange, because you are the only one carrying around a different version to compare it to. Everyone else just hears you and has always been completely fine with it. The horror you feel is entirely manufactured by a comparison that only exists inside your own head. Sit with that for a moment, because it's genuinely lovely once it lands. Think of the people who love the sound of your voice, the friend who feels better the second they hear you pick up the phone, the family member for whom your voice is the sound of comfort and home, the partner who could pick your voice out of a crowd in an instant and feel safe. Every one of them fell for, relies on, and treasures the recorded voice, the real one, the one you wince at. They have never heard the skull-boosted version you think of as yours, and they have never wanted to, because the voice they know is already the one they love. You have spent years cringing at a sound that, to the people who matter most, is one of the most reassuring sounds in the world. Your real voice isn't an embarrassment you've been hiding. It's a gift you've been giving everyone around you without even knowing it, while privately wishing it were different. The voice you can't stand is, to someone, the sound of being loved. So what do you actually do with this? The first thing is the simplest, and it works through sheer familiarity. The reason your recorded voice sounds so wrong is that it's unfamiliar. You've heard the internal version a million times and the external one almost never. So change the ratio. Listen to recordings of yourself more, not less. The more you hear your real voice, the more familiar it becomes. And the more familiar it becomes, the less it cringes. This is just exposure. People who hear their own recorded voice constantly, anyone who works with recordings, stop finding it strange entirely because the unfamiliarity wore off. The cringe isn't permanent. It's just a stranger you haven't met enough times yet. If you actually want to get comfortable with your voice, and there are plenty of reasons you might, from leaving better voice messages to speaking on video to simply not flinching every time, the path is straightforward and a little uncomfortable at first. Record yourself on purpose and listen back, not once, but regularly. The first few times will make you wince. The wince will shrink. After enough repetitions, your real voice crosses the line from unfamiliar stranger to familiar self. And one day, you'll play a recording back and feel nothing at all. Just, oh, that's me. That's the whole cure. You're not changing your voice, you're changing how well you know it. And the same exposure that desensitizes you to the sound also quietly updates your self-image to include the real, external you, which is a small but genuine act of seeing yourself clearly, instead of through the flattering filter your own skull installed before you could remember. The second thing is the reframe, and it's the powerful one. When you hear your recorded voice, instead of thinking, "that sounds wrong," you can think, "that's the real me, the one everyone I love has always heard, and they've always been fine with it." You're not meeting a flawed version of your voice. You're finally meeting the actual one, the one that's been out in the world your whole life, working perfectly well, recognized and loved by everyone who matters. There's nothing to fix. There's only a self-image to update. Once you genuinely accept that the recorded voice is your true voice, and that it has always been completely fine, the discomfort has nowhere left to stand. And there's a third, deeper move available here if you want it. Because this little quirk is secretly a training exercise for something much bigger. The recorded voice is the gentlest possible introduction to a truth that's worth making peace with. You will never get to experience yourself the way others experience you. And the external you has been out there, doing fine, loved and accepted this whole time. If you can let your real voice be okay, can stop fighting it, stop cringing, stop chasing the impossible internal version, you're practicing a kind of self-acceptance that reaches far past your voice. You're practicing letting the real, external, uncontrollable you simply exist, without needing it to match the polished image in your head. That's a muscle worth building, because so much suffering comes from the gap between our curated self-image and our actual self. Your voice is a small, safe place to start closing that gap. Make peace with the voice, and you've taken a real step toward making peace with being seen. Because here is the truth underneath all of it. The cringe was never about your voice being bad. It was about the small, startling shock of seeing yourself from the outside, and finding that the outside doesn't match the inside. And that shock is harmless, even useful, if you let it be. Because the real you, the external you, the one the world receives, has been doing just fine out there all along, loved and recognized exactly as it is. The only person who ever had a problem with your voice was you. Everyone else just heard someone they were glad to be hearing. And the next time a recording catches you off guard and that old flinch rises, you can meet it with something gentler than horror. A small, knowing smile and the thought, there I am, the real one. the one they've always loved. It was never wrong. I just hadn't been properly introduced to the version of myself that everyone else already knew. Now here's something to carry into the next one. Notice what your brain just did. It made a fast, automatic, emotional judgment about a sound before you'd consciously decided anything. And your brain makes an even faster, even more powerful judgment about something else, a face. In a tiny fraction of a second, far quicker than you could think it through, a stranger's face hits your eyes, and your brain has already filed them. Trustworthy or not. Safe or not. You've decided whether to trust a person before they've said a single word. And that snap judgment, which feels like intuition, runs an enormous amount of your life. Who you hire, who you believe, who you vote for, who you fall for. Why you instantly trust some faces and distrust others is the next thing we need to talk about. For now, I want 2 honest answers. First, what do you sound like in your head compared to what you sound like on a recording? Describe the gap. And second, the real confession. How many times have you re-recorded a single voice note, chasing a version of your own voice that, it turns out, has never existed anywhere but inside your own skull? Be honest about the number. I think it's higher than you want to admit, and I think you're going to feel a lot better the day you stop chasing a voice that was never real and make peace with the one that always was.